Quality Manager of NABL and ABH, and also a member of Medical Education Unit, which is a major passion for into teaching. Today's session is on Neoplasia Introduction. So moving on to the topic, first the objective. So today's take-home message will be about definition of neoplasia, the components, the classification and spread. So the first introduction, neoplasia. As the topic speaks for itself, neo means new, plasia is growth. Production of new growth is neoplasm. So neoplasia is a new growth production, that is neoplasm. So how are we going to define it is, let's see about a normal cell. It has its own growth factor with the growth receptors, and it has a stimuli which is controlled, and it has a organized proliferation for it. Whereas when it comes to a tumor cell, it is totally disorganized. The proliferation is totally abnormal, excessive, even after the removing of the stimuli. So this is a basic difference of the normal cell proliferation and with the neoplastic cells. So with this basic knowledge, since I don't want you to memorize the definition, I'm just explaining this. So the concept of the definition of neoplasia is abnormal growth, which is totally unconditional, which will persist even after the cessation of the stimuli. So this is the definition of the neoplasia, that's a new growth proliferation. That next is the components. These few words to be known to understand a better knowledge about the neoplasia in the further topics. So the basic components of the neoplasia will be about parenchyma. What is this parenchyma? Is nothing but the clonal cells which you see on a microscopic field. Next is the stroma, is the background, which is made up of a connective tissue or blood vessels or any other inflammatory cells or blood cells. This is the stroma. In the neoplasia, the long-term proliferation cell where it causes a fibrosis or the collagen deposits in the background is caused desmoplasia. Next will be the third topic, the third category is classification. So how are this neoplasia being classified is, it's classified into benign and malignant. What the benign tumors or the benign lesions are always, the name ends with a suffix called oma. So these, how are they called as? Fibroma, chondroma, adenoma, papilloma, cystadenoma. So these are all benign tumors, and this is how all benign tumors are called as. But still there are 5 exceptions of these benign tumors which you should remember all the time is melanoma, seminoma, hepatoma, mesothelioma and lymphoma. Even though these ends with the term oma, but these are all not benign. Malignant tumors are again called as carcinoma and sarcoma. How are they called so? With the origin. So basically we have epithelial components, that's squamous cells or columnar cells. From these cells, if the tumor arises, they are called as carcinoma. The mesenchymal cells where the soft tissues, bones, all these arise, from this, if I have a tumor cell, they are called sarcoma. I am putting few examples of this as benign, for example fibroma. When it comes as malignant, it is called as fibrosarcoma because it is mesenchymal in origin. Next is hemangioma. I am just reading few out of the all. Hemangioma. Next is angiosarcoma. Okay. And bronchoadenoma. When it comes to respiratory. When it comes to malignant, it is a bronchogenic carcinoma because these are all epithelial origin. The first slide, and for the second one, these are all mesenchymal origin, which is called as sarcoma. Okay, these are few examples just for you to get oriented about how a benign and malignant tumors, these are classified as so, and how it can be called so. So moving on to the next topic is differentiation. So we have seen the definition, we have seen with an introduction, then how it is classified. Even after classification, there are major differences between benign and malignant. How are they categorized is 5 major points you should be knowing for the classification. The first thing being rate. The rate means how a tumor grows. Okay. Next, clinical features. When a patient comes to your OPD, how you will classify them as whether it might be a benign or a malignant, a possibility. Next, you receive a specimen in your histopathology lab, the gross features. Next, you see it under the microscope. What are all the features? And 5, how the spread of the tumors, what are their possibilities in it. So these 5 major classification is the major heading for you to write detailedly about a benign and a malignant. So the first thing, if you take the rate, any benign tumors are always small, slow growing. It is benign. That is how the tumor is made up of. But the malignant are usually huge in size, and how the attaining the size is in a very smaller duration. It grows just like that in a time. So this is the basic history a patient usually gives, or you will elicit when taking a history. Then if you ask about the clinical features, all benign tumors are usually small and it will not be painful. It is usually mobile and it is not tender. When you take a malignant tumors, it's usually large, it will be tender, it will be fixed, firm. In a long-term growth, if the patient is totally ignorant and is not caring about it, even you'll have ulcerations or even mated nodes, or there will be a lot of other clinical features in a shorter duration of time. With the same thing, okay, you receive a gross. You see any gross specimen of a benign lesion, it is usually well circumscribed. Okay, it will have a definitive margins. It usually compresses the surrounding regions, but it will not penetrate through. Okay, it will have a clean cut margins. But when you take a malignant, it doesn't have, it is not capsulated, it is not well circumscribed, it will be necrosed, it will be haphazardly growing with the penetrations. Next is the microscopic feature. The microscopic feature for benign and malignant is one major term used is anaplasia, which is present in malignant, which is not present in benign. This term anaplasia has 10 major points for you to remember. Benign, no anaplastic feature, fine. Malignant has anaplastic features. What is this anaplastic features is the single diagram will tell you. Okay, the left I've put a normal cell. See how beautifully it is arranged. It has a basement membrane, a nucleus which has pushed to the periphery, and a well circumscribed cell margin with a cytoplasm. When you see the picture on the right, how haphazardly it doesn't have a proper shape or size, or it doesn't have any dictum to it. It is totally haphazard. So this is the basic thing which will tell you about how a normal cell and a malignant cell cytomorphology will look like. So this anaplasia, how are they defined? The 10 points. First thing is loss of polarity. What is this polarity we mean is any cell will have a proper cell margin, that is a basement membrane, over which a beautiful nucleus will be sitting over, surrounded by the cytoplasm. But when you take a malignant cell, you cannot appreciate where the nucleus will be. It will sit haphazardly wherever it is, and it doesn't have a proper margin. So that is called loss of polarity. It will not have a defined shape or size. Each nucleus will have a different size and shape, and each cell will be of different size and shape. That is what is called pleomorphism. Third thing is nuclear cytoplasmic ratio is usually 1:1. But when you see here, one cell will have, the size of the nucleus will be more, other cell, the cycloid nucleus will be less. One cell there will be more of cytoplasm, another cell will have less of cytoplasm. The cytoplasmic ratio will be altered is what they actually mean. Next, only about the nucleus, there are 3 major features. The next 3 is anisonucleosis. As it says, every nucleus has a different shape and size. Nuclear hyperchromasia, because of this proliferation, the DNA condensation is what they mean as nuclear hyperchromasia, and there will be a nucleoli prominent seen into it. Next, abnormal mitotic figures, because the proliferation is more, they keep dividing. So you'll see lot of mitotic figures. So these cells coagulate to forming a big cells which is called as giant cells, that is tumor giant cells, because of then there will be increased mucin secretion and DNA aneuploidy. So these are the 10 features of anaplasia. You can write, see, if it is a 2 mark, you can write the differentiation is anaplasia present and absent, but when it comes as a detailed answer, you have to define what is this word means and all the 10 differentiation with a beautiful diagram next to it, which will be easy for you to write and score marks as well. So, and the last point for the classification is spread. How does a tumor spread? First, the tumor spreads. Yes, benign tumors does not spread, but malignant tumors spread. It from the primary sites, it dislodges, it travels and goes into a secondary site. It proliferates over there, forming the metastasis, the term called as. But how does it go? It can go through 3 major routes. It can go through lymphatics, hematogenous spread, or transcelomic spread. Lymphatics is through the lymphatic system. Transcelomic is through the body cavities, how it freely mobiles and it goes and lodges. Third is through hematogenous. When it comes to hematogenous, it might be even through artery or vein. How does it decide? Arteries are actually thick-walled blood vessels, so the penetration is very difficult. But when you take it as vein, it is thin-walled, so it is easy for the penetrations. So any tumor which dislodges and goes is majority through the vein. This invasion goes from one place to another through three sites. This dislodgement and moving on to the secondary phase and depositing and proliferating is called metastasis. So the term metastasis, how do you define? Development of secondary growth of a malignant cell at a distance from the primary site. So all definitions not to be memorized, for you to understand and define it. So from the primary site, dislodges, goes to the secondary sites and proliferates, developing into a tumor is the pathway of the metastasis. So this pathway of metastasis again has 8 cardinal features. Because how does it goes, enters and leaves is the 8 major points. For that you have 4 take-home message. So these 8 features, what are they? First thing, what happens? There is a primary site where there is proliferation, tumor cells are there. In that, there will be a clone of cells which will have more aggressive features, separates from the primary tumor, and with the help of the E-cadherin, it loosens and interferes with the basement membrane and crosses the basement membrane, attaching to the extracellular matrix. So the first point is aggressive clonal formation, tumor cell loosening, tumor cell interaction with the extracellular matrix with the help of the E-cadherin. Okay, so E-cadherin is what you have to remember here. Next, the 4th point. Once it goes to the extracellular matrix, it has to degrade the extracellular matrix to enter into the bloodstream. How does it degrade it? Again, with the help of collagenase, elastinase and metalloproteinase. So these 3 points. With the help of this, it degrades the extracellular matrix and enters the bloodstream. Anything which enters the bloodstream is considered to be an antigen where the WBCs comes, fights, phagocytoses and removes it. But the tumor cell is not so. But still, it does its job. It covers it, it fights, it forms. But it cannot be removed like a normal phagocytosis where it forms a mass called as thrombus formation. This thrombus formation moves through the channel and it extravasatiates with the through the blood vessels and it deposits into the secondary area wherever it dislodges, where secondary metastasis happen. So these are the 8 major points for the metastasis to happen. I am repeating. First thing is aggressive clonal formation, that is tumor heterogeneity. I've just put it as a flow chart for the easy understanding. Next will be tumor cell loosening and interaction with the extracellular matrix with the help of the E-cadherin, degradation of extracellular matrix with help of collagenase, elastinase and metalloproteinase, entry of tumor cells in the blood vessels, thrombus formation, extravasation, metastatic deposits where the angiogenesis forms and the secondary growth happens. So these are the 5 major features of the differentiation of benign and malignant and about metastasis. And these are my references for the topic. Thank you very much. Let's see you with another interesting topic.